Hi everyone, welcome to World of Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie, and this is my guide to installing Aslain's mod pack. Aslain's one of the more longer running mod packs that are available for World of Tanks. In my opinion, it's the best, not just because of the features he has, but also because he updates it regularly. It's generally one of the first ones that's ready when there's a new patch. And with the installer, it's very easy to configure the mod pack in a way that will suit you. As I go through the various options that are available, I'll point out which mods may cause you a little bit of lag if you're in a part of the world where the internet connection is maybe not the best, or if you're like me, you're a long way from the server. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, which is a hell of a long way from Singapore, where the server's located. And I'll show you which mods might affect your lag and which ones will definitely affect your gameplay and make it hopefully better and hopefully help you win more games. Firstly, the way to get it is to go to aslain.com. That link will be in the video description. Up at the top in the English section where it says downloads and important information, you click on that. And you've got here, it's generally the first one. He does do mod packs for World of Warships as well, and he's got another one here which is his own personal settings, but I generally go to the first one, which at the moment is version 4.3.27. You can see he's updated it on the 25th of May. This spoiler here will show you a heap of pictures about what the mod pack's all about, and down here the most recent changes. Now he updates this, I'd say 4 or 5 times a week, so if there's ever a change in World of Tanks, then this mod pack will update pretty quickly, and it won't, and you won't have to go without a mod pack for very long. So you click on this link here, it goes straight to an ad. This supports his work, and after a few seconds you can skip the ad and then you download it from and once you've skipped your ad, you can do the download and open up the installer, and this is what you get when you open up the installer. You select the language, obviously I want to pick English, let it run. It asks for permissions to let it run. And once it's loaded up, you'll see a little bit about it, a little bit about the mod pack, about what he's done, The next page shows the most recent changes, and it gives you an option of where to put the mod pack. In most cases it's C-programs-World of Tanks. If you haven't put your game in any other folder, then that's where it will be. In my case it's in a different section, but when you click on the next page, you're met with this wall of text with all these different options, which can be a little bit overwhelming, and this is what I'm going to go through today. So click down the bottom to show descriptions, and here onto image preview. This section here will show you whatever you select. So the first option is for the mod pack to tell you when you need to update it. That comes up in game. Then that's pretty self-explanatory. Then there's a color scheme. The tanks can be green and red, which is the standard. Green and violet, blue and red, blue and orange, just depends on what you prefer. Vehicle contour icons, which are, these are all Aslain's different icons here. I like the experimental one, but there are quite a few different versions that some people might prefer. I prefer to keep it quite simple, and so that's the one I've picked. But there are also other icons made by other mod designers, quite a few. There's Jimbo's, which is a popular one. Every different icon you can imagine are available to select, but I stick with the one I'm familiar with, which is the experimental one, which is pretty simple. A lot of people say to me they don't really like the font that Aslain uses. I don't mind it, I'm used to it now, but there are a lot of other options you can choose from if you're not a big fan of Aslain's font. Next section is over target markers, which are the markers above the tanks. You can have a strong or a weak shadow. That's on this text around here. That's just to make it a little bit easier to read. And on the main text, whether you want just the vehicle's name, the pictures, a million stats, which I find get in the way of your view when you're playing the game. So I just go for the simple, just the vehicle name. That's fine for me. But there's also Klain Icons, player's name. You can have the name showing, which I do, and a squad number if they're in a platoon. You'll see there that number 1 there. That means he's in the number 1 platoon. Moving down, you can see there's other options for the vehicle names, vehicle hit points, which I have turned on. It shows you how many hit points each vehicle's got. Stock turret marker, so it lets you know if the enemy tank or your friendly tank has a turret which is not the top of the range for that tank. You can put an exclamation mark on if someone's nearly dead. I don't really bother with that. Tank name over destroyed vehicles. Angel wings and a little nuclear bomb for allies and enemies that have been killed. I think that's pretty cool. And there's a star marker which rates using Xvm and statistics how good or how not so good your enemy and your friends' tanks are. In the other Xvm settings, these are probably not that essential, but they're worth looking at. This one will show what language the players, when you hold down the control key, I think it is, it'll show what language your teammates and your opposition are speaking, if they've enabled that in their game settings. This one also shows who's got Xvm, who's running Xvm in game, in the battle loading window. When the game's loading, I'll have it set to this one, which shows a lot of different stats for every vehicle, which it can be a bit can be a bit messy, but it doesn't necessarily come up during the game. It tells you how many games people have played in each tank overall, their WN8 rating, their win percentage, and how effective they are in general in battle. In the statistics, when you push the tab key, the similar thing comes up. This is on the start mode, which one is going to be the default settings, I think, which is, I've got this one on. Background transparency, I'll just have that on default. There's not much there. Enemy spotted markers. This shows which of the enemies have been spotted. If it's yellow and lit up, it means they're spotted now. If it's red, they have been spotted, but they're not spotted right now. The ones that are blank are enemy tanks that have not been spotted during the game. Moving down to the advanced panel, this is in game, having all these statistics up. You can have the big list of stats up while you're playing, or you can have simpler versions. I think sometimes you're better off not having too much information there because it can get confusing. These ones with the hit points bars, they look really cool. It tells you how many hit points all of your team has left in the game, and also it shows the enemies as well, but it is quite taxing on your frames per second. So if you live a long way from the server, or if you haven't got the best internet connection, I wouldn't recommend turning that on, because that will affect your gameplay. And on the medium panel, I've just got the small list of stats. It's just a colour and a list of tanks that are driving. Now the mini map is the next section in the Aslain's installer. It's a 50mm circle around your vehicle. That shows how close the enemy have to be to automatically detect you, even if they can't see you. Even if there's a building between you and them, they will still see you and you'll be spotted on the map. Those lines that the arrows are pointing to are your the direction your vehicle is facing, as well as your gun. The turquoise and the blue lines are your view range. The inner blue line is your spotting distance, and when this yellow line turns blue, that means you've got binoculars. If you've got binoculars on, obviously that extends your view range. And all these different features on the mini-map, the 500 meters, that's the maximum distance anyone can see. If an enemy tank is on the other side of this red line, like this E100 is, you won't be able to see them, no matter how good your crew are or your view range. More visible mini-map coordinates, that's just different colours for the numbers and the letters around the sides. Labels on the mini-map, vehicle health circles. There's a circle around every tank, whether it's on your side or the enemy. The circle indicates how much health that tank has. So this T18 here is on about half health. This one's on full, and this one's on full. Must be said, if they're outside this red line, it won't be accurate. You don't know because you can't see them. There's another option here to show full names on the mini-map, which, in my opinion, it gets very messy, so I don't do it. You can enable mini-map zoom. When you push the control button, the mini-map zooms up in the middle of the screen, which can be handy for pinging areas if you need to let your enemy know where you're going, or draw attention to a certain part of the map. And when you push the Alt key, it just changes to what tier everyone is. The next section is a hit log settings. There are a number of different hit logs which keep track of how much damage you've done, and also down the bottom it keeps track of how much damage you've taken. There's a simple one and a more detailed one, a compact one. The default Xvm hit log, which isn't too bad, and also an option to select how many lines it will take up on the screen. Enable auto login to the game. That saves you having to type in your password every time and your email address. So I just double click onto an icon on my desktop and it automatically loads in. You skip the introduction to the movie, show the ping in game, which you can see up here. It's not very clear. I'll see if there's a picture of it. So it shows the ping in game while you're playing and while you're in the garage. Password saving box, so you don't have to type it in all the time. Favourite server, that's if you're playing on more than one server. I don't, so I don't worry about that one. And these are the Xvm Statistics. Which scale do you want to use to keep track of your Xvm and all the players you're playing with and against? There's a 6-colour Xvm which is by Xvm. There's a 9-colour version, which is Aslain's, which is the one he uses, which is Watlab's old scale. The 10-colour original one, and the 10-colour with two red colours. There's also a number of options here for different 6th sense icons. And all these different 6th sense icons change all the time. There's Aslain's one, which is an eye, Jimbo's one, which is a face, Star Wars, John Cleese, Metal Gear, there's thousands of them. There is a way to install your own, but you can see he's got quite a selection there of 6th sense icons that you can use. That yellow bulb is a lot bigger than the normal yellow bulb, which is in game. And there's also a number of sound alerts, and a lot of them match up with the different icons. I don't bother with the sound alerts or the different 6th sense icons because I've got my own 6th sense icon that I use, and the sound alerts, I think, well, they can get annoying after a while. Now in the Hangar, we've got some options here to show a few different things in the garage and in the tech tree. Having the price button on enable a gold locker so you can lock your gold or your free experience so you don't waste it. Mastery mark in the tech tree, it shows you any mastery badges you might have. Display hanger clock, 24 hours or 12 hours. Change default currency from gold to credits, which can be handy, so whenever you buy something, that the wargaming default is that if it is something that's purchasable by gold, whether it's large first aid kits or premium consumables, this changes it so that when you buy it, it's automatically purchased with silver rather than with gold, which is handy. Having 2 rows, I have 2 rows in my garage, as you can see down here, but you can make it 3, 4 or even 5 rows, which 5 rows really takes up more than half the screen, unless you make them smaller. You can make them smaller or bigger, the tanks in your garage. Advanced information on the carousel, I use this one, which gives me how many battles I've played, a mastery mark as a percentage. It tells you when you get to 65% you get your first mark of mastery, mark of excellence. It also shows how far you've got to go for a mastery badge, how you're going, your average WN8, how many games you've played, and generally how good you go. Now these are all just different amounts of information for each one. I'll use the middle one. Selected tank highlighter, I haven't seen this one before. That looks pretty cool. Just sort of highlights the tank that you're trying to pick in a different colour. The next section is the other odds and sods, which includes the zoom. So I make it so that I can zoom 30, it's 10 steps, 2 to 30, so it zooms right out to a hell of 500 meters away, so you can have a really, if you're killed in battle, you can have a really good bird's eye view of the game. And 30 times in, so you can zoom right in. If you're a long way away, I never zoom 30 times in. I generally go between 10 and 20, but the option to zoom in to 30 times, which is, I think the default is 8. Sometimes it helps. You can turn down your scroll sensitivity, so when you're zoomed in, the scroll won't, using this one, the scroll won't work when you're zoomed in. So if you're zoomed in, you're about to shoot someone and you accidentally touch the scroll wheel on your mouse, that won't make you zoom out or further in. Accurate damage indicator, I use version 1, which is probably, I like it anyway. It shows you where, if someone's just shot you, it shows you where it came from, and there are 4 different versions of that, and they all do the same thing, but I like number 1, the red one. Allied silhouettes, I've got it turned on so that I can always see, even if there's a building between me and my ally, I can always see their outline. It just makes it a little bit easier to see where they are in game. This one is a annoying sound that comes up when an enemy is within 100 meters of you and they're spotted. I don't have it turned on because I get annoyed by it. There's some auto aim indicators which I don't use. That just tells you if you've got auto aim on. You should know if you're playing. And I'm not sure what this one does. I haven't got it turned on, but I know they had some issues with it earlier, a couple of months ago when 9.7 first came, or a month or so ago when 9.7 first came out. This was one of the mods that was causing bugs, so I haven't turned them on. Spotted extender, that just tells you how far away they are, what they've done, if they've shot you. Spotted vehicle direction on aim circle, I do use this one. This tells you, actually I use this version, which if someone's just been spotted, it gives you a direction, what kind of tank they are and how far away they are. There's another aiming system which I am not an expert on, but this was another one of the mods that did cause some bugs. So again, I haven't turned it on. Extra aim information, that's for artillery. That tells you how long it's going to take for the shell to get there, and what kind of deviation it has, and how long it's going to take you to aim. I don't have that turned on. I don't really play artillery. There's some chat mods which filters out some garbage chat, and also there are other chat mods which you can use for clan recruitment. You can just push a button and in your chat it will say join my clan. I find that a little bit annoying, so I don't do that. Coloured messages, oh, that's the coloured messages during the game and after the game. It just makes it a little bit more pretty. It's not a bad thing to turn on if you've got a decent connection, but my connection can be dodgy at times, so I don't turn on anything that I don't think is going to help me play, or anything that might be annoying. I don't turn them on because it might be a distraction. Coloured damage stickers, these are different stickers that if you're shot, they can looks pretty cool. Even though you've been shot, it's just like having scars on your tank, I guess. I don't turn them on because I know it's not going to be helping my gameplay. It's not going to speed up my connection, so I don't turn that on. You can also change the colours of the base circles. Again, that's something I don't really bother with. Extended armour, that tells you how many hits you've blocked. Real-time achievement announcer. I did have this real-time achievement announcer turned on. It tells you when you've got fire for effect and a few other medals. I've found that it was a little bit buggy, so I don't worry about that. Often this little mark often stays on even in the garage and on to the next game, so I've turned it off, but you might find it's better. It might work for you. It might just be my connection. Tank lamps, I reckon that looks pretty cool, but again, it's not something that's going to affect my gameplay or help me play better. It does look cool. If you push F2, all the tanks will turn on their headlights. Bit of fun. And crew skill informer. I have got this turned on. If you're in game and you push the backspace key, a little picture will come up, as you can see here in the red square. It tells you the skills that each of your crew members have, whether it's Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms, Repairs, Camouflage, which is handy if you're playing a game, a tank that you haven't played for a while, and you think, have I got Sixth Sense on this? Who's shooting at me? Hit the backspace key and it'll tell you if you've got Sixth Sense enabled. Sixth Sense might only be at 92%. You might think you've got it, but it's only at 92%, so it's not going to work. And that's not a bad little reminder, and it doesn't cause any lag or anything like that. The next section are the crosshair mods. I do use one of his more simple crosshair mods because I reckon it looks pretty cool, but there are heaps of them. There's some artillery ones here, which makes, if you're an artillery player, it looks a little bit more cool than the ones that come in the game. There's also a Jimbo's mod, but that's one of the more popular sites. That's the Jimbo's artillery mod. There are more artillery mods there. I used to use this harpoon one, which I reckon looks pretty cool, but now I use one that's a little bit more simpler, which is the Blue Cross. But all of these ones, that's a little bit better than the standard one. There's some more with some bright colours, and whichever one you feel comfortable is the one I'd recommend putting on. Ones like this look a little bit too complicated for me. To me, there's far too much distraction there, but your mileage will vary. Whatever you like, that's the one I'd be putting on. Battle timer mods, these ones just tell you a little bit more information about how long until you reload. These are different colour server crosses, so that's this thing here, that's the in-game server, so that's what you're actually aiming at. Battle Assistant this is for artillery. It gives you a different view on whoever you're trying to shoot. A lot of people swear by this, a lot of people say they don't like it. I don't think it helps when you're playing artillery, but I don't play much artillery. But some people swear by it, some people don't. I personally prefer the overhead view, but if you're an artillery player and you think this might help, then by all means activate it. Information panel about targeted vehicles. it comes up and it tells you what kind of gun they've got, and to me that's just a distraction, so I don't enable that in the game. The next section are on gun and artillery sights. These, where are they? There they are. Just different ways of looking through your sights. Again, I don't have any of these turned on. They're all artillery ones. I'll make that full size so we can see a little. Can't really see a little bit better, but there are 10 other options to how you will look when you're looking down on artillery. Battle cooldown numbers. I do have this on. This is just a number telling me how long till I've reloaded my gun. And this is a customizable way of looking at the different shells and also your first aid kits, your repair kits, premium consumables in the game. Just makes it look a little bit cooler. There's a few of them there. A few different versions. Multi-hit log. Up here, this tells me how much damage I've done. The difference is how much damage I should do compared to the average player playing that tank. This is your average damage per shot and your WN8 rating. When that turns green, it means you're not having a bad game. And there's a few different versions, as you can see. It's a debug panel. These are in the game. It tells you what your ping is. Water Tanks already has this in the game, so I don't bother. But they're different ways of seeing how your ping's going. Some people like having different ones. A tactical map. I think this looks pretty cool. I might start using this one. Shows you where everyone's gone in the map. There's your damage panel. You can have it, and a damage announcer. See, the Waffenträger's just done 500 damage using gold, going by that picture. Your repair panel. If you push the left control key, it'll show you what's wrong when you're using your repair kit. The fire alarm sound, and there's an angles indicator. That's up to you if you turn that on or not. And these are other different damage logs. I think this one looks pretty cool. The glow version looks a little bit different. Looks pretty cool. And a different kind of damage panel to look at in game on the bottom left hand side of your screen. This is a gold ammo visibility mod, which tells you if someone's shooting gold at you. And silver can be APCR, gold can be heat, different colours. Blue can be heat, red can be APCR, whichever one you prefer. Now there's some graphical performance mods. Now these mods help. This is what I generally use. Now I don't have everything selected. That's only just come up because I've clicked here. But this helps. This will help with your ping. This will help you get more frames per second and less lag. Going through them all, none is obviously none. I use Max's Ultra Fog Remover, which makes that standard, and that's with the fog remover. That just makes everything look a little bit sharper. I actually use this one, which is also it fixes, there's a sniper lag. Sometimes when you're sniping, if you're zooming in, sometimes you'll get a bit of lag. This aims to help that. And there's also all these other ones which may help your frames per second and your lag. Getting rid of camouflage. Extended filters pack. I don't really know what that does. I've never had that enabled, but it just looks like it has different colours maybe. Maybe it filters out certain colours, which would help. And you can preload sounds, disable high details, disable exhaust smoke, and all these things which don't really affect your gameplay, but might help your frames per second and lower your lag. Radial menu. This is for the in-game chat. You can request artillery, request someone goes back to base, tell someone to wake up. I think that's a good one. To the cap, greetings and clan spam, so join my clan type thing. A few different versions. Some of these mods, this one's in Polish. Aslain is a Polish guy, so he's going to have some mods that are in Polish rather than English, so just be aware of that. Receive damage announcer. This tells you how much damage you've received. There's the full version and the North American version. I don't think the full version is legal on the North American server, but I could be wrong. It tells you who shot you. I think it even tells you that if they're not spotted. That's probably why it's restricted in North America. But in the EU server, the Southeast Asian server, and I'm guessing the Russian server, it is perfectly legal. Safe shot. That stops you shooting an ally if they move in front of you as you're trying to fire. And it also, if an enemy's been killed, sometimes two people will shoot the enemy at the same time. If the enemy's killed just as you're clicking, it'll stop you firing and wasting a shell. So well, that's quite helpful. I always have that enabled. This one, I never turn this one on because it annoys me when other people do it. I'm spotted, or spotted at a certain location. I don't turn it on. I know a lot of people do. You know, especially if it's towards the end of the game, I guess it's helpful, and you can have it turned on so that it only works if there's less than 7 people alive. But coming up on the chat, I'm spotted at A1, I'm spotted at B3. Just annoys me, so I don't turn it on when I'm setting up my Aslain's mod pack. And you can tell it which game mode to turn it on, whether it's Tank Company, Clan Wars, normal games, stronghold games, and which class of tank, heavy, medium, whatever. This one here is really cool. It's a team hit pool, HP, hit points. It tells you how many hit points. Now you often see this on videos in the tournaments. Team hit point bar, one by Lokistan, one by Armor Goman, and it tells you how many, regardless of the score, it tells you how many hit points are left on each team. So it's another gauge as how your team are doing. You might be winning, but the enemy has more hit points left or less hit points left. That might help you decide how you're going to play. Are you going to attack? Obviously, if they have less tanks but more hit points, they're all on full health, and you're probably not. Another one, which this is probably the only frames per second intensive mod I've got enabled, the animated circle of a reload. Now this is a big advantage. These numbers get the circles sort of go around them. This guy in 4 seconds will be loaded, this guy in 2. Now they're my allies. It is good to know it with your allies. But if anyone has spotted an enemy and the enemy has fired, it will tell you how long until the enemy has reloaded. I think this is a magnificent mod. I personally think it's probably a bit of an unfair advantage. It might be banned sooner or later, but at the moment it's not banned. This will tell you if you've got enough time to peek around the corner and shoot this enemy tank before he or she have reloaded. So I think that's well worth getting. It's one of the only mods I've got enabled that does tax the frames per second a little bit. This one here, which is also banned on the North American server, but all the other servers it's not banned on. It shows on allied artilleries, allied tank destroyers, and all enemies which way their turrets are facing on the minimap. So if you know there's an enemy tank here and you're here, if you know he's facing the other way, you know it's definitely safe. Whether he's reloaded or not, you know it's safe to pop out and shoot him in the side. You know he's not aiming at you. It definitely helps your gameplay if you can use that to your advantage. Getting towards the end now, garage mods, this will automatically equip your not consumables, your equipment which is transferable, i.e. toolboxes, binoculars and camouflage nets in order, first, second and third. If there's 1, 2 or 3 spaces available on a tank for equipment, it will automatically load in order camo net, binoculars and repair kit onto a tank that's got any spaces when you click battle. What I have noticed is it also remembers, so if you're driving a big heavy Russian tank and you've got 1 space left, it will automatically equip the repair kit first if that's what you've taught it how to do, if you like. There's also some pretty mods. Coloured tech tree, gold premium tanks for the garage. This one obviously won't affect your gameplay because they're in the garage. Just makes your garage look a little bit pretty if that's what floats your boat. Crew icons, you can change your crew to girls, different group of girls, minions, cartoons, Family Guy, girls and Panzer, which some people like doing. It's a bit of a giggle. Session stats. That's Locastins. I don't use Locastins. I use Yaskraken, but there's no picture for that at the minute. This just tells you, it's an overview of how you've gone today. And I have mine resetting at 6 o'clock in the morning each day. Horizontal tech tree, that's not bad, just makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to scroll through the tech tree if you're looking at it. And there's a horizontal one. Another horizontal one. These are just visual mods. This will just possibly make it easier to see what's going on in your garage. Garage appearance. These just make your garage look a little bit different. There's a black one, a Batcave one. This was big a year or so ago. A cartoon one. It's a clan mod, so in your notifications it'll come up if you've got a Clan Wars battle, and I think it works for strongholds as well. Other garage mods, progress indicator. This just makes it when you've got if you're doing a mission or a special, it'll just make it a little bit easier to read. Crew experience extender. It's very hard to see in that picture. We'll make it big. It tells you how he's going in his skills. Also, how much experience and how many more battles to the next percentile and to 100%. Which isn't a bad way of seeing how your crew are going. Vehicle experience extender, same thing. He's up to 164. He's got 164,000 to go out of his 200,000. Quests. This will automatically select the next quest in these individual missions. If you're not familiar with the individual missions, I have done a video on it. The individual missions, this will automatically select the next one. I don't have this enabled because it has a tendency to automatically select missions that you haven't completed with honours. I'd like to be able to pick and choose which mission I'm doing. For example, if I'm platooning with someone, I'll pick the platoon missions. If I'm not, I'll just do a mission which I think the particular tank I'm grinding or driving will be able to do. Not sure what this one is, but it changes the language to Polish, so if you're Polish, by all means have a look at it. Replays manager, I never turn this on because this takes a lot of time to load. And there's a calculator if you want a calculator. These other various mods, these I don't have any of these turned on. These are all sound packs, so it might affect your gameplay. It might cause a little bit of lag, so for that reason I haven't got them turned on. There's a deathmatch announcer. There's different gun sounds that you can put on, different engine sounds to make the engines sound a little bit more groovy, as well as the hit packs, hit sound packs. So when you're hit, it'll sound a bit different. And the crew, when one of your crew members says we've been hit, they might say it in some funny voices, whether it's Duke Nukem, the Minions, Steel Foxes, Top Gear, the A-Team. I'm very tempted to put the A-Team one on, but I'm not going to because it's just all it will do. Apart from it'll be funny, but it will definitely affect your frames per second. And there's Polish, German, and Czech versions of some different sound packs. And there's a few other ones here. It says here, select with care many conflicted mods here. That's enough for me not to pick them, but gun reload sounds, introduction music, destroyed objects, and most of them are just for a bit of a giggle. But because I record my videos and put them on YouTube, I'd rather just have it sounding normal. Finally, we are getting towards the end, and thanks for watching. It's turning into a very long video. High def and colours in a mini-map. I have that enabled because it looks quite good. And there's two other different kinds of mini-maps there, black and white and a colour. Train wagons, if they're highlighted yellow, most tanks will be able to shoot over the top. This one just colours in the different carriages. This one shows which ones you can shoot over the top. Klain Icons, I've got the Klain Icons turned on so I can see who I'm playing against. There's some skin packs which highlights weak spots of all tanks. Very helpful if you're a new player or if you're coming up against tanks and you don't know how to penetrate them. Very helpful. It does affect the frames per second a little bit, but not very much. But I don't do it because it looks a bit messy, and I think I've worked out where I can shoot enemy tanks. Enhanced camouflage skins, they just look... That's the World of Tanks released this one, I think. It makes camouflage look a little bit better. Skins of destroyed vehicles, it makes destroyed vehicles easier to see, whether they're white or beige or grey. There's ESL, which I think is English as a second language. I'm not sure what that is. There's a TeamSpeak mod. I don't use that. It tells you in-game who's talking on TeamSpeak, which is handy, but I think it affects frames per second, and I know who I'm talking to, so I don't really need that one. Not sure what that one is. This is for uploading your replays onto VB Addict's website. Easy Crew Voice Selector, so you can pick what country your crew, what language your crew speak. You can have all your crew speaking German or Japanese or whatever you like, if that's what you really want to do. Custom login screens, I haven't got that selected, but it looks pretty cool. There's another login screen. A region changer, if you're an American who's come to Australia for a holiday and you want to log into your American account. World of Tanks tweaker, I wouldn't touch this. This is for technical minded people, and I'm not sure where that last one is. In any case, the Aslain's mod pack, as I've said, I highly recommend it. It does take a bit of time to initially install and go through all these different options, but once you've done it the first time, every subsequent update it remembers, so it's only the things that might have changed that you might want to change. So I'm sorry this has gone for so long, this video, but there was a lot to go through. And as I said, it does take a little bit of time when you first install Aslain's mod pack, but I thoroughly recommend it. Once you have selected all of your particular options and preferences, it will remember it next time whenever there's an update. And so the only things you need to change is maybe what he's changed, or if he's added something which you might consider installing. So once you've done all your selections, you click on next down here. It will give you what kind of option, how to install it. Go the clean install, which is the first default option. That's generally the way to do it, unless you're technically minded, or unless he says to select a different way to install it, which he will in his description on his website. Once you've done that, it will prompt you to go to the Xvm website, which is here. All of these links will be in the video description at the end. You sign in using your World of Tanks login. For me, I'm on the Asian server. You could be on a different one. I'm not. I'm on the Asian server, which is the Southeast Asian server. You log in using your login. It will be automatically once you've already done it. You click on Activate Services up the top. Update Statistics, which it will do. And this goes for 14 days. I've got 10 days left. I think once you get less than 7, this Activate Services turns into Prolong. And you can click it and it will prolong it back up to 14 days. And then you're good to go. And then you're good to launch your game and enjoy the Aslain's mod pack. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry it has gone for a bit long, but there is a lot to cover with Aslain's extensive mod pack installer. It is easy to see, now that I've gone through it all, it's easy to see why some people are a little bit overwhelmed, but by clicking the click image preview button and looking at all the different options, you can really see by going through it what each aspect of the mod pack does. And if you're interested in mods and you really want to get better at the game, this really does help you. just bear in mind that if you're in an area like me, which the internet is not fantastic, sometimes some of these mods might affect your lag, they might affect your gameplay. So I'd be, unless you're getting a ping that's below 100, I'd be hesitant putting in some of the more graphically intensive frames per second mods. So thanks for watching. As I said, I will put a description in the video with the links to Aslain's website and also to the Xvm website. Hopefully this helps your game. If not, feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Take care and bye for now.